How's it going, guys? Happy Easter, Mr. Joshua with another video. So, let's turn down the radio a little bit. Not right now, Aerosmith. Not right now. I'm having a moment. Fuck you, Steven Tyler. Fuck you. Fuck you. No, seriously. Happy Easter. It's Sunday. It's about 56 degrees right now from what my thermal stat says. So that's pretty nice. A little windy. Nice, beautiful day for the resurrection of Christ, let me tell you. Right now I'm going off to my house for the time being. And going over there to go see my boy. I even got him this nice, fancy looking, Easter basket with all this cool stuff. So, with that being said, let's get back to my Batman versus Terminator. So, I've been cutting up the videos, a little jittery this morning. I've cut up the videos a little bit because I just don't really have time much anymore. So, I'm not even really sure where I left off yesterday. Let's see. Dude, I don't even know. Maybe I'm going to have to backtrack. You know what? I'll backtrack. So anyways, let's go back to a couple months later after all this, stuff happened, my previous videos for Terminator versus Batman. It'll focus on this one guy. He's tongue-tied. He's a younger guy, and he's part of Batman's army. And there was a platoon that went out there to hunt down Terminators and whatnot to basically patrol parts of Gotham. Anyways, there was his brother was in one of the platoons that went missing, and he wanted to go out there and find his brother. And unfortunately, what happened was, Batman told him no, he can't go out there. He's not experienced enough. And this guy, he's in his 20s, he's been living off of scraps and everything for the past 20 some odd years. He's a survivor, but he's not really prepared to be, going out there by himself fighting Terminators. So long story short, he goes out there with a buddy of his. They agree to sneak out and go find his brother. Well, what happened was his brother and the whole entire platoon were bombarded by T-800s, and they were killed, unfortunately. And these T-800s, the ones that he tracked down, these T-800s were infiltrator units. So originally they had human skin. And what these Terminators did was they infiltrated a base where his brother was at. And this base in particular had booby traps all around. It was a failsafe. So just in case Terminators came in and tried to kill everybody, they'd be able to take the Terminators down with them. And so with that, the last survivor was ironically the guy's brother. And he was mortally wounded. He was dying. He knew he was dying. And so what he did was he had this button they flipped before the Terminators were able to kill him. So he flipped the switch. All these bombs went off in the human resistance base and destroyed everything in there, including the Terminator's skin. So the Terminators, unfortunately, they survived. They had some damage, but they survived. No skin, no flesh anymore. And ironically, those two people that went out to go look for that dead brother, they were captured by those three Terminators. The first guy, he got killed. He was killed by a plasma rifle. And the brother, ooh, that's a nice car. Fuck yeah. Sorry, it was a Bel Air, 1957 Bel Air. Nice. White and purple. But anyways, the main Terminator captures the brother. It realizes that the brother has a wound in his thigh. And so what ends up happening is that the Terminator realizes that this person he's holding hostage is basically it's part of the Batman's army. And so he begins to choke. It begins to choke the guy. The guy starts, screaming, but he chokes harder and tries to, get information where the Batcave is, where the human resistance Batcave is. He won't tell him, and so the Terminator comes up with an alternate plan. It releases its grip on the guy a little bit so he can breathe, and drops his plasma gun. With his finger, he pushes his finger into the guy's wound in his thigh, makes him scream. And as he's sitting there screaming, the Terminator opens up its mouth and starts screaming with the guy, mimicking him. And the reason why he's doing this is because the Terminator is adjusting its voice system to match that guy. And so as soon as the voices are a match, the Terminator drops the guy to his knees. He looks up. He says, "Fuck you" to the Terminator. The Terminator repeats, "Fuck you" to the human. Then the human spits blood on Terminator's face. Terminator reaches down again, snaps the guy's neck, and he lays there in this alleyway while it's raining and, cloudy and whatnot. And then the Terminator looks around, finds this, old knife or whatever on the ground, while the other two Terminators are watching. Terminator picks it up, walks back over to the dead body, and cuts around the neck. Terminator cuts around the guy's neck and inserts a slit in the back of the head, and takes off the guy's helmet. And then he reaches down and rips the skin off of the guy's skull. And then Terminator puts the skin onto its own skull as camouflage. And then Terminator also does this with the guy's arms as well, up to his elbows, I believe, just enough so he can pass off as a human. And then after that was over, the Terminator, puts on the guy's clothes, the helmet. So the Batman's army helmets, all their helmets resemble Batman's cowl. They even have have a visor so you can't see the eyes, and the visor just looks like one big giant tinted, glass shield that covers the eyes. And the reason why the Terminator put that helmet on is because it's so it can blend better, and that unfortunately, even though it has human flesh on its face again, there's still Terminator eyes are popping out. So the visor was there to essentially disguise him as being a human. So after he puts on all of the clothes, the skin and such, he looks just like a human. And the Terminator notices something. It reaches into a vest pocket and pulls out a hard copy of the map, because some of the platoons aren't really familiar with where the Batcave is, so they have a hard copy of the map. Some of them do, and that's how Skynet is essentially able to find out where the Batcave is. And so now that Terminator is disguised again as an infiltrator, and it finds its way to the Batcave. And at this point, Skynet has a bunch of Terminators waiting to attack the cave. And the Terminator basically sneaks into the headquarters of the Batcave, and it searches through the computers, and it finds a secret entrance behind this outside waterfall. It's a huge, door that can be remotely open and closed. It's been closed ever since the war happened. So it opens up the cave door that's hidden behind this waterfall, and sends location coordinates to all the other Terminators. And let's backtrack a little bit. Batman always has a failsafe, and so Batman's failsafe for Gotham City is that throughout these months, he's actually had a bunch of his army go out there and stage EMP bombs. And now all these EMP bombs are staged all around the ruins of Gotham, and it's a failsafe. And the reason why he did this is because just in case the Batcave does get infiltrated and attacked, they would be able to escape the Batcave. And worst case scenario, he could basically lure a bunch of Terminators into Gotham and set off the EMP and destroy a big giant part of Skynet's army. So back to this infiltrator in the Batcave. It sends location out where the cave is and such, and where the hidden door is, and Batman does have a bunch of reversed Terminators that he's converted into protectors for humans. He has like 3 or 4 of them, and they're all painted either like a dark bronze or possibly gray, like a dark dirty gray. And they even went as far as welding like little bat ears on the Terminators too, so that way they could be distinguished from regular T-800s. Ironically, this infiltrator never ran into those Terminators until it walked away from the headquarters, and it ran into its first T-800. And just by instinct, that T-800 did a scan on the guy on the other Terminator and realized that it was an infiltration unit. And before that Terminator had a chance to react, the other Terminator that was disguised, basically gets into a huge fight with it and destroys it by decapitating it. And then it starts to leave. It leaves for the armory because it found the armory location on the computers. And then it runs into a second Terminator. Same thing. It targets the disguised Terminator. They get into a big fight, and this time it brings on a lot of attention. And they quickly realize that that's an infiltrator. And before they have enough time to retaliate and destroy the infiltrator, by this time all the other Terminators broke into the cave, the secret entrance for the cave, and they begin infiltrating and destroying the Batcave, and they start killing people. It's huge, giant chaos, and all these people are running. The soldiers are trying to fight these Terminators, and there's like literally 50 or 60 Terminators are coming in there, and causing havoc, just killing people and destroying them. Everybody's completely caught off guard, and unfortunately Batman isn't in the Batcave. He's off trying to salvage. He's off trying to salvage things and stuff to better his people. And by this time, what happens is that Batman gets a red alert, like code black or whatever, and he realizes his worst fears is that Skynet infiltrated the Batcave finally, and so he rushes there trying to save people. And he can't get into the Batcave. There's too many Terminators surrounding the area. He manages to get into his parents' old mansion, because his mansion has like the original Batcave entrance. He goes in there and he runs into like 1 or 2 Terminators who are just kind of patrolling the hallways. He destroys those quickly, and then he turns the corner and there's a Terminator right there in his face, catches him off guard, and he's about to destroy the Terminator, and the Terminator raises its hands and tells him to stop. It's me. And the Terminator comes out into the light, and it's Batman's main Terminator that he custom himself, and he kind of designed the Terminator's personality after Alfred. So in a sense, that Terminator is kind of his personal assistant, personal butler kind of type deal. And the reason why Batman did that is because he was trying to find a coping mechanism because of the loss of Alfred. So that Terminator and Batman, they go into the Batcave. All these this huge ass battles happening. They try to save the people, and they take out a good majority of the Terminators, but at the end they were able to save some people, and the Batcave was at a loss. There's nothing that they can do. So what they did was they took out a majority of the Terminators, Batman got back into the headquarters, he was able to close up all of the main entrances and whatnot. Terminators are still trying to come in. They're still trying to break in, but they can't come in for a time being. They killed a lot of people, and so as last-ditch effort, Batman commands the remaining people of his army to go out there and salvage all the guns, all of the vehicles that they can. And sorry, that was weird cough thing. Anyways, Batman orders everybody to gather supplies, get into these extra Batmobiles or Batwings or whatever vehicles that he has, and to basically take the emergency tunnels and meet Batman at the launch deck. Which at the deck there's a ship that Batman had previously prepped. Again, Batman knows how to prep, so he has his ship prepped. And all these people, they managed to leave, and Batman and the other Terminator and his personal Terminator are the only ones left in the Batcave. And so Batman opens up again. He opens up the all of the doors and whatnot, lets the Terminators in, and he puts the Batcave on a silent self-destruct sequence. They both leave. The Terminators come back in, and they can't find anybody. By the time all the Terminators come in, the self-destruct sequence happens, destroys all the Terminators, and no more Batcave. So fast forward, they all make it to the ship, and the reason why they all make it to the ship is because they're abandoning Gotham. There's nothing they can do. So everybody made it to the ship, and before they had a chance to leave, Batman sees the leftovers of the Terminator kill line coming towards them. They were tracked, and Batman made a decision to sacrifice his life. So he gets off the ship, tells them to leave. Here's the coordinates to John Connor in San Francisco. So what ends up happening is that Batman, he's walking down the bridge thing that leads to the dock from the ship, and he gets stopped by his personal Terminator. And the personal Terminator tells him to stop, give him the switch. And the switch that he's talking about is the switch that when he activates it, it sets off all the EMPs and basically, destroys Gotham, or what's left of it. Batman hesitates. The Terminator convinces him to let him do it. And Batman gives the Terminator a plasma rifle. And the Terminator goes down there to the docks. He walks towards the city as the ship leaves, and Batman's watching his Terminator go there. And these Terminators catch up to the Batman Terminator, and they have a shootout. The Batman Terminator gets heavily damaged. It hides itself behind a tanker or something, and it's dying. It keeps replaying all these messages and such in its mind. And there's one memory that it remembers, and it's Batman talking to him about decisions. Do you want to be a hero, or do you want to be a villain, basically? The Terminator is sitting there thinking about it, and it looks up and it says, I want to be like Batman. And then it gets back up. It's crippled. And it starts, firing at all of these Terminators and whatnot. And it gets shot in the chest. It falls to the ground, and it's about to die. And it looks up into the sky, and it says, for Bruce, and presses the button. And all of the EMPs go off on the city, and destroys what's left of the kill line in Gotham. Just completely destroys everything. And this is the last part of that comic. what ends up happening is that Batman's watching the destruction of Gotham, and he says, "I'm sorry, I tried." And then that's it for that part of the comic. Batman watches his city be completely destroyed. So I figured that was a pretty good storyline so far. I have a lot more to this story, but I'm 20 minutes into this. I just made it home. I'm gonna go and see my beautiful boy. Happy Easter, and stay tuned for another updated video. I'm out.